philosophers that are.
Hello,
Hi Lee, can I get your age?
I'm 18.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so do you support dogfighting or do you not support dogfighting?
I don't.
And why is that?
Just don't feel like you should like set it up on purpose for them to fight.
Yeah, I guess I'm more so asking, like, what do you feel like is wrong with something like that?
Imagine making okay. I know UFC exists and all that shit, but like imagine if there was no rules and they just get to punch each other no matter until death. Right? That'd be wrong.
Well, yeah, I might share that and somebody else might not share that, but I'm trying to figure out why you would say that something like that is wrong.
It's not. It doesn't feel humane like at all, bro.
So I guess you're saying that what makes it wrong is that it's inhumane. And what do you mean by inhumane?
I mean, like, what person with like the average morals, right, would do that? Like, make dogs fight each other, make them bite each other's faces, and make them bleed and everything.
Well, I'm trying to understand what you mean by the term inhumane, because that was what you were saying, what would qualify the action as something that you would deem it as wrong. So I'm trying to understand what you mean by the term inhumane.
Like, it's not. It doesn't. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean like you're a good. Okay, you're not the greatest guy. Like, you're not a good person if you do this type of thing. Like, this is what I mean.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I understand that you would say that the action is wrong. And you would say that it's qualified as wrong because it's inhumane. But I'm still trying to understand what you mean by the term inhumane, if that makes sense.
It's just okay. Real quick, I'm gonna just say like, no, I'm not vegan. Like, that dude is asking if I'm vegan or not. But I just think inhumane means just going out of your way to hurt something, someone, whatever, and you have no morals or you just don't care about what you're doing.
Okay. So you're going out of your way to hurt another individual, and that could include humans and non-humans, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think about something like factory farming?
I mean, like, it sucks that it has to happen, but it feeds so many people on Earth, bro.
Yeah, but wouldn't you like? What do you think about this? Like, if we had an alternative where we don't have to, put these individuals through something so horrific and horrendous, like, would you say that it would be more humane to choose the alternative?
I mean, yeah, but okay, like, I understand, like you think the animal factories and stuff like that is bad, but at least they're not forcing the animals to like fight each other to death. Like, they're just killing them so it can feed people on Earth.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is, like, in both situations, if we just focus on dogfighting, for example, those people who are forcing the dogs to do the fight for the humans' entertainment pleasure, obviously those humans have other alternatives. They could go watch a movie. They could go pay for a UFC ticket where they go and watch other humans who are consenting to fighting or something like that, right? And there's a similar type of argument that can be made in the case of the dietary needs that humans, partake in, basically. So we have similar alternatives that don't require exploiting billions and billions of animals in horrific and horrendous ways. Do you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I don't think anyone thinks it's right. Like, with animal factories and how many animals have to die and all that stuff. Like, I don't know one person that thinks like it's a good thing, but at the same time they just don't care because they get to eat and it feeds a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an interesting thing that you're mentioning now. So like, I totally agree that a lot of people would probably quickly say that they just don't care. This is just how things are done. But if somebody were to use that same reasoning in the case of dogfighting, and they just said, well, I can understand that it's wrong, but I just don't care. It's just something that we do a lot. Would you still object to them doing that?
Okay. Well, it doesn't count with that because it's not something that just happens as much as animal factories like and making food for people. Like, if dogfighting was as major as the millions of animals that have to die for us to eat, then I'd be like,
you would be in favor of it?
Like, no, I wouldn't be in favor of it. I'm saying it would be different. Like, if it was as major as it.
Well, what would be the difference?
The difference is like people get entertainment from the dogfighting, and they get paid whatever, but it's not as beneficial as animal factories and actually feeding people.
Well, like we mentioned before, that despite the fact that there are tons of animal factory farms, those people, like majority of people, still have the option to choose an alternative where they have just a plant-based product or a plant-based food, where they can eat a plant-based diet where it doesn't directly exploit a sentient being, and that's analogous to how to your intuition, where like in the case of dogfighting, where oh, sorry, I'm trying to accept someone else. But that's similar to your intuition, how in the case of dogfighting, we don't need to, even if we were doing it on a large mass scale, if someone had an alternative, you would be saying, hey, we should probably still be choosing that alternative, even though this is on a large mass scale. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's basically like the heart of the point that I'm trying to make here. It's just that we have an alternative, and most people actually do agree that if we have an alternative and we don't need to, forcibly enslave and exploit billions of sentient beings unnecessarily for something as trivial as taste pleasure, then we should probably just choose that alternative. Similarly, if we have an alternative form of entertainment with something, like UFC fighting where humans are consenting, or Netflix, or reality TV, or something like that, we should opt for those alternatives instead of exploiting a sentient being. Does that make sense?
Yes, but like, okay, think about like different perspectives to it. Like, imagine dropping off a helicopter load of cargo of like only vegetables to a village. You think they're gonna enjoy only having vegetables? They're gonna want meat. They're gonna want steak. They're gonna want real meat.
So yeah, like if we're trying to provide aid to some country or some village, like you're saying in your hypothetical, if we're providing them with like plant-based sources of protein, like legumes, tempeh, seitan, tofu, things like that, and they're getting their sufficient calorie supply, sufficient protein needs in terms of their nutritional necessity, well then wouldn't you agree with me that providing them those alternatives while also sufficiently providing them all of their necessities would be a better alternative than providing them exploited sentient beings?
But the majority of people aren't even thinking about if it's at the exploit of an animal or whatever. They just hungry. They're starving. You know.
Well, I mean, do you understand the question I was trying to ask you?
Yeah. Like okay, okay. I can understand that, but how do I say this? Okay, so many villages are not just gonna think about wanting plants. Like I just can't see a bunch of people just wanting plants. You know.
Yeah, I mean, plants alone probably wouldn't suffice, right? They would need plant-based forms of protein in addition to just like vegetables. It sounds like what you're saying. But the point is, like in theory, in principle, if we could provide them with all of their nutritional needs
Without
through
telling them like
plant-based
from
sources
meat.
of protein and calorie intake, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, if we could provide all of those through plant-based means, wouldn't you say that that's more ethical than providing them through the exploitation of sentient beings?
Okay, like I can understand that. I get your point, but it's like okay, at the animal factories that you're thinking of or whatever, like are they just like beating them until they're dying, or is it instant kill?
Yes. They are putting pigs in cages and they are suffocating them with carbon monoxide. And then the pigs roll around for like 20 minutes and then unalive. That's like how they do it in the most efficient way possible. So yes, they are torturing them.
So okay when did y'all like decide like when they decide that you don't want to eat meat anymore?
6 months ago for me.
Yeah, and also like if you need some more information on how those animals are being treated and like the types of actions that are being committed against them, I would encourage you to watch something like Dominion or Darius Scary. Like any of the vegan documentaries will show you like exactly how these animals are treated, and it's like absolutely horrific. It's not in any way like a quick, painless unalivement. It's very, very brutal, very torturous, extremely disgusting. I feel like most people would agree that it's horrible. It's on par with how we see dogs being treated in something like dogfighting in dogfighting rings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but do you think that okay? So if I were to like eat meat and like all this stuff, like am I in the wrong, or like do you think me and the person who had to kill the animal for it to be made are wrong at the same time?
Well, if you're someone who's like paying for the person who's or if you're paying for the action of the person who's unaliving the animal, then you're implicitly telling the person who's unaliving the animal and exploiting them that hey, I need you to do more of this so that I can re-up next time, basically, right? That's just like basic supply and demand economics, right? So when you're saying hey, like when you pay them, like another analogy you could think of is like if you paid like a hitman to go unalive some human individual, you would obviously be culpable for paying that individual to go unalive that other individual. Even though, of course, yeah, the person who's doing the unalivement is doing, quote unquote, the dirty work, you would still be responsible to some extent. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I were to buy a steak, like if I went to Texas Roadhouse and I bought a steak, like am I a bad person for that?
Well, if you know that the money that you're paying to the individual who's going to do that action to more innocent beings is going to be perpetuated, if you're aware of that knowledge, I don't see why you would want to contribute to that. So I'm trying to understand, from your perspective, if you want, I can make like a parody argument here where I say like I mirror the same type of reasoning that you're giving me. Like if I were to go to a dogfight and I paid for a ticket to see dogfighting happening, would you see me as, a bad person or doing something morally wrong, even though I'm not the one who organized the dogfighting ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like the same sort of reasoning can be applied in the case of paying for factory farmed animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like, okay, what can people do to like stop all of the animal factory killings and all that stuff? Like, what can we as people do about it?
Yeah, so as individuals, we can choose to just, at a baseline, in principle, just not participate in such horrendous, horrific, torturous practices. At a systemic level, it's a lot more complicated. But at the same time, to get to the goal of it being a systemic thing where we start participating in it, we need more and more people individually to make the conscious choice to avoid individually participating in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, do you think that there will ever be enough people that stop eating meat and everything and contributing for it to even make an impact?
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, I mean that's kind of my goal ultimately because I think people do share similar normative commitments to me and like other vegans where they would say that something like dogfighting is morally wrong. Like most people are very quick to get on board with saying, hey, like dogfighting is morally wrong. And the reasons they typically give are consistent with also being against something like factory farming. So it's just something that people really need to be made more aware of rather than they need to like change their position or something like that. It's actually just something that is inconsistent about their position that they already hold, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess like my thing is just like I don't have anything that I can do other than literally just stopping eating the food. It's like I don't even feel like that impacts anything because there's still going to be millions and millions of animals being killed. So what's the point of even starting?
Yeah, so I mean, the type of reasoning you're using here is it's akin to what we call an appeal to futility. And a way to mirror this type of reasoning so that you might understand a little bit better, it's like, okay, if somebody or if the world was, participating in the slavery of human beings, would you then say, well, because we have this mass enslavement of human beings, I guess I'll just participate in it? Or would you still hold like a principled position where you say, even though a lot of people are participating in this, I still think it's wrong, and I'm going to choose not to participate in it myself? What do you think?
I value humans more than animals.
Well, yeah, that could be true, and you still be vegan, but that's kind of besides the point of the question that I was trying to ask you. So I'll try to repeat it real quick. So if the whole world was okay with enslaving human beings, would you say then that, well, because the whole world is enslaving human beings, I'm just going to participate in it? Or would you say, well, even though, despite the whole world is participating in human slavery, I'm still going to say, I should not participate in it, and I actually won't, because I absolutely don't need to.
I'm saying I value human beings more because I would pick to not be with human slavery.
Okay, so you're saying even if the whole world was participating in human slavery, you would say, I actually don't need to participate in that, and that's something I consider morally wrong, even if the whole world is participating in it.
Yeah, because I just care more about humans.
Well, it has nothing to do with caring more about humans. We're only talking about humans in this specific example.
Yeah, even then, I'm saying the same thing though. That's what I mean.
I'm trying to get you to understand this one point I'm making, because you said earlier that your contribution to stopping participating in the billions of sentient beings being exploited wouldn't really make a difference with respect to the fact that it's still happening in mass, right? But
it still wouldn't benefit. Okay, even just me, it wouldn't benefit anything just from me not supporting it. But like, I mean, I'm still gonna choose that. I'm still gonna choose not to support it because it's humans.
Right. Okay. So you're saying you still wouldn't choose to support it because they're humans, because they're worthy of moral consideration. And you could say the same thing about all these other sentient beings, right? So I could make a better parody example, so that maybe it makes a little bit more sense. If the whole world was participating in something like dogfighting, right? Would you say then that, well, because it's happening en masse, I guess I'm just going to contribute to it? Or would you say, well, in principle, I actually still disagree with it, and I don't need to participate in that. So even though the whole world is participating in that, I'm not going to do that.
Bro, but I'd feel the same way if it was happening at mass. I'm still not going to participate in it. Even now, I'm not participating. It's not a majority of the Earth thing.
Right. So even the point is, even if it was the majority of the Earth participating in it, you would still say, no, that's wrong, I'm not going to participate in it, right? Yeah. So the same type of reasoning can be applied to factory farms, small farms, where it's just completely unnecessary for us to exploit these sentient beings. You still hold a principled stance against exploiting these sentient beings unnecessarily.
But I have way more control over if I want to do a dogfight or not, though. I don't have control over the factories that are doing that.
Well, you don't have control over somebody else and hundreds or millions of other people hosting dogfighting rings, right?
Like I get that, but at least I can have more control over that. If if a lot of people were to group up and find the people who are doing that, I could do that. But I can't do anything about the factories.
You can. You literally can. You can just stop buying the products.
Bro, but they're still going to be killed though, no matter what.
Okay. But I don't see the issue here. Like, so you have a choice, right? You can either support an industry that takes little cows and slams them on their face on the floor until they're unalived, grabs the mother, impregnates her so many times that her canal literally prolapses, carbon monoxide unalive pigs where they're thrashing around. And I've seen that, and it's awful. You can support that, right? Or you can not support that, right? And I know, like, intuitively, right? You know that it's wrong, but I think you just don't want to, like, stop doing it. And I was the same way, so I'm not judging you. Yeah, if you wanted to do something, right? Humans don't do what they don't want to do, right? So, like, if you wanted to stop, eating like animal products, then you would, right?
Yeah, but it's like realistically,
yeah, so you don't want to
be a vegan, bro.
It's not. It's just. Do you want the study?
Bro, I literally.
Do you want the anecdote?
Buy everything as a vegan. It's gonna be more expensive.
No, it's not. I've personally, not to appeal to anecdote, but I've personally had my bills go down by at least $40, like in grocery store stuff, and I eat a lot of food. And there's also just studies that comparatively, a vegan diet is cheaper. Like it's just empirics. Like there's no getting around it. It's just empirically true.
So So do you think that I just don't want to in general? I don't want to.
Yeah. I think you just don't want to.
I don't get it. Like why?
Why do I think you don't want to? Hey, Herb, talk to him for a second. I got another set. I'm at the gym. Hold on.
Yeah, you're good.
But I have an answer. But
so I mean, it sounds like, okay. So let me just try to recap where you're at. You're saying like you're asking why you don't want to make the change. Basically, is that
like, why does he think I don't want to at all? Like I tried. I just don't like only eating vegetables and stuff. Like I mean, I felt good about not eating like meat and stuff because I was thinking about it, but realistically, like for the rest of my life only eating vegetables, it's like I didn't see myself doing that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about only eating vegetables, right? Like there's plenty of things that taste literally exactly like meat. I don't know if you ever tried like Beyond Burger or just plant-based meat in general, but some of those things are like completely indistinguishable in terms of taste from the exploitative counterpart. So I would recommend looking into that. But yeah, like some people have this like it's kind of a funny misconception thinking that we only eat vegetables or something like that. But no, like we eat like plant-based meat, we eat tempeh, tofu, legumes, they're not it's not necessarily just eating a whole bunch of veggies. Obviously, veggies is a big part. Veggies is probably a big part of your diet currently, right? You know, like it's not like you're just you're only eating meat or something.
At least it should be, right? It should be. And now I'm back. And the reason, right? Why I was saying it seems like you don't want to, right, which is fine because like I was the same way. Okay, like I love steak, but I did not like the idea of hurting innocent like creatures that don't deserve it, right? The reason why I'm saying I don't think you want to is like I didn't want to, right? I'm not chastising you. I'm just being realistic. Like I didn't want to, so I didn't, right? Because like I don't know if you know anything about being human. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it, right? No amount of like coercing or talking or arguments are going to make you do it, right? You're going to either do it or not. So you have to make a decision.
How many years were you eating meat and stuff though?
My whole life, dude. Like I'm
how long did it take for you to literally switch from like stopping eating meat in general?
Oh, there was a transition period of like a month. I'm not gonna lie. I was still condemning it, right? I was still condemning it. Still condemning like all the factory farming and stuff. But yeah, I still was because I think transitioning, like a transitionary period, is way better and going to lead to greater results and actually people switching, like actually switching to it and it being something that sticks with them. I think going cold turkey on anything is fucking stupid. Right? And a lot of vegans might disagree with me. Don't give a fuck. I think stopping cold turkey for a person who's been eating meat their entire life is fucking dumb. I think that's so stupid because it's just not how the brain works, right? Like, but it took me a minute, man. Like, you just gotta like incorporate things into your diet. Like, find I don't know, tasty options. Like, vegans aren't out here eating things that taste like fucking drywall. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's good vegan meals. You just gotta look for them. You just gotta try, right? And you gotta want to, right? You gotta be convinced of the argument enough to go and want to, right?
I can understand that.
Yeah, not chastising you, by the way. I'm telling you how I know what you're doing in your mind because I was the same way. I'm not chastising you. I'm just being frank.
I literally don't agree with like, like what y'all were saying about killing cows, beating them to death, like them suffocating. I literally don't like any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? Who would like that? Like that would be like pretty absurd to like. Like it wouldn't make sense, especially if there were someone who was sympathetic to saying that something like dogfighting is morally wrong. It would just be extremely inconsistent to say, yeah, using dogs for our entertainment to make them fight to the unalivement is completely wrong, but doing these horrific actions to other animals like cows, pigs, and chickens is totally fine. Like that would be it would just be so absurd and inconsistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I'm like, me as the host, I'm trying to point out here and get people to appreciate. And yeah, like if you're interested in, like trying to find out more about how you can make that switch, I can also give you resources like something like veganeasy.org, which is where they're like a team of plant-based dietitians and nutritionists who will literally just help you like figure out how to cook for yourself, plant-based, meal prep, find out how to read labels quickly so that you can, find what you need at the store very quickly and, just get used to that transition because it's think about it, even like 1 month out of your life where you're transitioning out of how many years you're probably going to live, like upwards of 70, 80, 90, if you're really healthy and stuff. So it's really a small, like minuscule transition period to being in alignment with your like ethical values. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I'd like to know, like, I'd like to watch stuff that could change my mind. Like I'm not even like against the idea of being a vegan or whatever. I just need to be convinced enough to, become one. I need to see documentaries, stuff like that. Understand?
Dude, if you go watch Dominion, like you'll be convinced within the first 30 minutes of the documentary. Like I promise you, because it's a tough watch. Like genuinely from my perspective, man, I can't get through it. Like, and that's like the fact that I even know what the fuck happens on factory farms is one of the reasons that I can't even come close to conceptualizing how I would justify doing any of those actions just for someone's taste pleasure. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So like, yeah, if you go watch that, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just absolutely horrific. And it'll probably put you off from the fact that this is how majority of meat is cultivated right now.
Give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, man. Check out veganeasy.org and also, Dominion. You can watch that on YouTube. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me or just come back on the live anytime. Like, yeah, I'm like super, super open to having discussions, answering questions, understanding like where people are coming from. I know like, some people have conditions or whatever, and they still want to be vegan, but they just don't know how to. And yeah, it's like totally understandable. But yeah, come back anytime, man.
Okay. Yeah. I hope you have a good live, and yeah, I'll let someone else come up.
Thanks, man. You too.
Okay. Have a good one.
Also, thanks, BTA. You did a great job talking to that guy.
Thanks, man. I feel like sometimes the I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to explain. Like I just think sometimes, not you, but like other people, like sometimes don't really know how to talk to people, and they come at them like really fucking mean. Right? Like that's what I was trying to tell them. I'm not chastising them. I'm just saying I've been in the situation. You know what I mean? And some entities think that people should just like cold turkey fucking cut it all off. And I'm just telling you right now that doesn't work. Plain and simple. Like it just doesn't work for everybody. So like, right. That's, I don't know. It just doesn't fucking work. So like, and of course, oh, you're still supporting it. It's like, yeah. So like currently I'm like eating as minimal amount as possible, right? Not me, but I'm eating as minimal amount as possible in order in the future to completely stop. You wouldn't look at like a schmug addict, right, and go, oh fuck, they're like such a bad person for like harm reduction and like incrementally like stopping the amount of like schmugs they take, right? Nobody would do that. So I don't see why this conditioning, right, this conditioning, this way out, getting out of the conditioning of eating meat is being fucking chastised ever. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
100%. Yeah, I agree. It's like if you ask any vegan, if they truly think, hey, which would you prefer? Someone like in the transition period or someone not making the transition at all? It's like, of course they would choose the transition period. They would have to be absurd to not choose that. So yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you there. Because yeah, some people will just go, okay, if I don't have a transition period, then I'm just not going to make the decision to go cold turkey at all. And if those are the two options where I don't transition, or I do, but it's just it's going to take some time to do that, it would be absurd for them to say, hey, yeah, just don't do it. It would be completely antithetical to the vegan movement entirely.
Yeah, no, 100%. Also, if I ever like mute up, like it says I'm at the gym, so I'm listening, but like just so you're aware.
Oh yeah, you're chilling, dog. You're good. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. I'm just gonna play my YouTube video, and I'll be right back in like a minute or so. And then I'll bring somebody else up.
That do analytic philosophy. I ran the same survey with it. They also moral realism slightly won out at 52%. So
interesting.
Yeah, there were differences in, but we don't need to get into that. But it is interesting.
Were the numbers sufficiently big?
No, it was. I think if I recall, it was like 170 people. It wasn't a whole lot of people in the survey, which is about 10% of the. Because if I recall, it was 1,785 people responded to the Phil Paper survey, which is a pretty nice number.
It is nice.
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact number that answered the meta-ethics question. But one of the things I wanted to point out about that is that, from my point of view, and you may or may not agree, there are obviously senses in which naturalists and non-naturalists, realists, they agree on some things, but the views are often so different that there are many nominal respects in which, like an anti-realist and a naturalist are more similar than they are to realists in some ways. And so for me, that division of like 62 versus 26 is a little artificial, and I've described it as a bit closer to like a rock, paper, scissors situation. I don't know if you share that very well metaphorical characterization.
Well, I'm definitely not going to argue with you over the methodology of social sciences, but I agree that these ways of cutting up the field always miss a lot of information. So, and there are going to be other ways of cutting. For instance, you could just ask, is metaphysical naturalism true? Forget meta-ethics, right? And then you have many anti-realists and many naturalist realists on the same camp, and non-naturalist realists would be in a small minority. So yes, I agree with you. But perhaps you can say a bit more, because merely saying anti-realism is not saying a lot. Perhaps you can say a bit more about how you characterize your own view and say perhaps the main underlying concerns that lead in that direction.
Yeah, so